Our next storyteller is Christian Hansen. Christian is a 2-time #1 best-selling and LinkedIn top 10 ranked author, known for uncovering why some people get chosen and others don't. As the author of the Influence Mindset series, he helps teams and professionals stand out, communicate with impact, and increase their earning potential. A graduate of BYU and the London School of Economics, Christian lives in Utah with his wife and is a fan of history, choral music, and of course, tacos. Christian Hansen.
I never imagined that 100 corn tortillas could spark an international crisis. But that is exactly what happened and how I accidentally declared war on Denmark. Okay, so let's just rewind here. If there's one thing you need to know about me, it's that I'm from Los Angeles and my family runs a Mexican restaurant because that's what you do when your last name is Hansen. The other thing you need to know is that my wife Natalia is from the country of Denmark. So think Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales, pastries, Legos. And so when I was flying over to meet her family for the first time, how could this American make a good first impression? Well, I went with the obvious choice, because what better way to win people over than with a 100% authentic and homemade Mexican fiesta? This was going to be a meet the in-laws triumph for the books. Now, to be fair though, I missed some of the warning signs, because when I shared the idea with my then girlfriend, I mistook her cringe as a smile. And so I enthusiastically packed my bags with Tapatio hot sauce and Guajillo chiles and, of course, the 100 corn tortillas. And when I arrived in Copenhagen and she saw my traveling taco stand, her eyes got big as burritos because it looked like I was trying to start a Mexican embassy in Terminal 4. Okay, again, I was missing the signs, because then we went to her town where her family has lived for over 1,000 years. And I just waltzed into her mother's very modest Danish kitchen. I started cooking away. And soon I saw tears in Natalia and her mother's eyes, not because of joy, but because of the chiles and the spices in the air. That's because no one had invaded Denmark with this much firepower since World War II. Okay? And then when her family arrived, I started to get worried because they were here, they're like, in Denmark, here's an American cooking Mexican food? He is so strange. And aren't tortillas supposed to be more like pita bread? These are so flat and thin. He has ruined bread. I did not think that was a possible thing to do. And then when they sat down to eat, the wheels just came off. Because compared to their normal fare of bread and cheese and, pork, my food was just over the top, way too spicy. That's because in her town's 1,000-year history, the single greatest culinary innovation and the single spiciest food they'd ever encountered was simultaneously the potato. Okay? So here, children were crying. The elderly were checking their pacemakers. My girlfriend yelled at me, "Why do you hate my family?" Even the dog walked out. He just gave up. He was like, y'all sit and y'all stay. My fiesta was a complete fiasco. This was a meet the in-laws for the books, all right, but for the completely wrong reasons. And as they were all running out the door, muttering all the Viking curses, and I learned some new ones that day, I remember thinking, what went wrong? The food was well cooked. It was good ingredients. But the truth was, I'd gotten in my own way. Now, has this situation ever happened to you? And by that, I don't mean, have you ever picked a fight with a founding member of NATO? Because who does that these days, right? Crazy thought. But have you, right? But when you're trying to stand out, have you ever gotten in your own way? Like my fiesta fiasco, when we're nervous, we want to feel interesting before we become interested in others. And that was my problem. This wasn't about them. It wasn't about helping them feel important. It was about me and my story and my food on their home turf. What if I had had an ounce of curiosity about them? What if I had helped them feel important? More importantly, when you're trying to stand out from the crowd, what if you did the same? And for the rest of the trip, that's what I did. I put my insecurities aside, and I got to know them on their own terms. And they were amazing, amazing people. And several months later, my wife and I got married. Now, that is what the people of Denmark taught me. That when you give space for someone else's story, they tend to give space for yours. Because connection begins with curiosity. And as I was heading home to the airport on that first trip, my future brother-in-law pulled me aside. He said the most emotional thing. He's like, Christian, it's not like we dislike you. Just next time, cook more potatoes. Thank you.